Kimberly Drake. I I surf, not professionally. It's just something that I've done since I was a kid.
My name is Fockler and grew up here in the Huntington Beach, Fountain Valley area. Been in this area for over 50 years.
I grew up going to the beach, and we went almost every day in the summertime, and my mom would take my brother and cousin and I. My parents had a rule, though, that if I was going to learn to surf, I had to do junior lifeguards, just because they wanted to make sure that I understood the ocean, the power of the ocean, and how to read the ocean before I got into the water.
My first formative years were in Palos Verdes, and that's where I got an affinity for the ocean. My dad loved the ocean, always took me into the water there. And then once we moved down here, Surf City right around the corner, me and my buddies, we just started going down to the beach and started surfing, and we had no idea what was going on, and that's how I got into it. I can tell you stories about, Palos Verdes. I probably wouldn't even be welcome back there. And there's a group of surfers that slash tires, throw rocks at you from the cliffs, all that. And it's the Lunada Bay Boys.
There was this spot in Palos Verdes, I still don't know exactly where it is, that was sort of notorious, like the hidden spot. And some guy from Surfer Magazine had gone out and tried to take photos of it, and they caught him, and they basically slashed his tires and keyed his car, the rumor goes, right? And just because it was such a secret spot, and they didn't want it exposed.
And I won't mention the spot or anything like that, just because. But there was a spot that was over on Kauai. Me and my friend, we took our two sons there and we went surfing. And there were these two Hawaiians that were in the water, and they hassled us. They basically paddled up to us, said, "Go home. We don't need the Howleys here. We don't want you here. You wrecked our country. These are our islands. Get out before we call all our friends over here." And so we, paddled in. So I saw and had and experienced both extremes. You gotta remember, surfing's pretty macho. Okay, you're talking about who can catch the best wave, who can catch the biggest wave, who can ride it the longest, who can look the best on it. So there was a lot of machismo out in the lineup. And so a lot of people grew up with that kind of attitude. But the territorialism came in because as surfing was expanding, at least here in California, people were like, "Why are you coming to our spot? It's getting crowded now." And then you started having accidents out in the water. You started having people who were, running over folks because they didn't know the rules and the etiquette of surfing.
At the time, it was probably more about girls surfing than not being local, just because it was actually at that point still somewhat of a novelty. And I definitely got hassled for that. I could see where it was probably also a newcomer thing, but everyone sort of picks the low-hanging fruit. I mean, I remember going out and I was sort of the only girl out there for a few years.
When people start surfing for the first time, they're not given a surf guide. Hey, here are the rules. You don't paddle out this way, or you do paddle out this way, or wear a leash, or don't wear a leash. So there's no book on it. And so when you get out in the lineup, probably the best thing that can happen is you just start talking to the people out there.
There isn't necessarily a certain level of attention that needs to be paid, that is paid to safety things. I mean, you see it all the time where someone is new out there and a set comes in and they just ditch their board. So you've got this hard board with fins flailing all around, people behind it that could be hit or are hit by it. So, when you look at it from that perspective, I think there's a certain level of understanding there. That's part of it.
I know a lot of people say surfers, it's a tribe. Well, in a tribe, everybody's really welcoming, right? But you have territorialism that does happen. I mean, it's here in California, it's in other states, it's in Hawaii, definitely in Hawaii, in certain parts of Hawaii. You as a surfer, if you're going out for the first time and you respect the people that are in the lineup, they'll help you out. But if you go someplace and you just start taking waves, or you're just learning and it's not a spot where you should be learning, you're gonna get hassled, you're gonna say, get out of here, you're wrecking it for other people, you're gonna get hurt, you're gonna hurt somebody else. And so it's basically they're policing themselves. People don't have that book, like I mentioned at the very beginning, but they're learning and they're registering that themselves, and that experience becomes their book on how to do better out in the lineup.
Remember, I had a boyfriend who was from the United Kingdom, who we went to Puerto Rico and I wanted to go surfing and he went surfing as well. And I remember trying to just give him some basics and he wasn't having it. I said, okay, you do you then. And he went out there and he broke every etiquette rule. Someone threatened to beat the hell out of him. They chased him out of the water. And I mean, he never, ever wanted to even look at a surfboard again. The sport's become so popular that it's just become really crowded as well. You look at Huntington, by the piers, pretty aggro. You've got, it's packed. You've got people competing against one another. Now you've got all the drones and the Instagram accounts and people taking photos. And whereas if you go to the cliffs, you know, it's a lot more forgiving. Again, though, it's just sort of, I think, being respectful of and being mindful of etiquette and sort of where you're at.
Generally speaking, people are more welcoming these days out in the lineup. I mean, you go to Bolsa Chica, the whole Bolsa Chica vibe is, hey, come on, let's go surfing, you know, and hey, if I noticed that you weren't able to stand up on that wave. I can help you. Even in Huntington, you know, except when you get too closer to the pier area where you got all the Groms, you know, want to be the next Kelly Slater, right? You know, I mean, it's hard to catch waves. They're not going to give you any, but if you can catch the wave, people will say, salute you and say, hey, great job and all of that.
But in terms of local terrorism, I don't condone it. You know, I don't think that anyone should get beaten up or have their tires slashed or any of that, you know, or harassed.
Surfing is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be for everybody. Everybody should be welcome. Doesn't matter, you know, race, color, religion, what have you, you know, everybody's welcome. It's the ocean, and I love the ocean. I want other people to love the ocean. And it should be fun for everybody to go out and enjoy this sport, which is so awesome. But there are just a few, you know, negative nuts out there, a few bad eggs that just make it bad for a lot of people, unfortunately.
I think that people who really want to surf and learn how to surf, I highly encourage that. And I encourage actually learning about it before just jumping in. You know, whether it is understanding some of the etiquette or just really very basic safety stuff so that you're not putting other people around you in danger.
A lot of beaches in Orange County, let's face it, they look the same color. Yeah. Okay? And so how can we get people of different color to the beach? And there's actually a group of black surfers in the Los Angeles area that have formed their own coalition. And there's actually an event coming up here in Huntington Beach in September for this group of surfers, south side of Huntington Beach Pier, you know, where they are going to, you know, have this day of you know, hey, aloha spirit. The Surfrider Foundation and my work with the Surfrider Foundation, that goes back 6, almost 7 years now, as far as me having an active role in the Surfrider Foundation. I've always been a member, or have been a member on and off through the years, just by paying, you know, dues. But the Surfrider Foundation was started 39 years ago by 5 surfers out of Malibu, Glenn Heading, Tom Pratt, and several others. And they started it with a couple goals in mind. First goal was, how do we keep our beaches clean? And the second is, how do we keep our beaches open for everybody? Because in Malibu, owners of the homes in Malibu think that that beach in front of their homes belongs to them. So the actual mission statement is to protect the world's ocean, beaches, and waves for all to enjoy. And it doesn't matter, you know, what race you are, what religion you are, or anything. The ocean and the beaches are for everybody. And that's what Surfrider Foundation is all about. And our newest campaign is The Ocean Needs More Friends.